For the first time in the history of the Federal Republic, a German bid for a seat on the UN Security Council has failed. Germany has applied for and held a seat 6 times before. This time, the world has slammed the door in our face. The truth is, under Friedrich Merz and Johann Vadeful, we are not back on the international stage, like in the economy and migration policy, in foreign policy. We are at best playing in the regional leagues. That is despite the fact that the United Nations in its current form would not exist without us. Almost 5 billion euros Germany pumped into the UN system last year. That is how it has been from the very beginning under this government. Merz is only flown in when a wallet is needed. And in return for German taxpayers' billions, the Chancellor is placed in the last row, between the coat rack and a potted plant. The CDU and its so-called foreign chancellor bear responsibility for this national disgrace. This unconditional pro-Ukraine alignment of the government is not well received in large parts of the world, just as its inability to engage with everyone in a multipolar world is not. This incompetence is demonstrated week after week in parliamentary sessions. Under the CDU, Germany is no longer an honest broker. Germany is merely an open safe for the rest of the world, and everyone helps themselves to it.
This applies to our Ukraine policy. This applies to our position on the Middle East, in particular Israel. We have never left any doubt as to what Germany stands for and what it stands against. This particularly concerns our clear support for Ukraine, which is defending itself against Russia's criminal aggression. This assistance, including military support with ammunition, weapons, and training, may not be to everyone's liking, including some members of the Security Council. The same applies to our special responsibility for Israel's security.
Some gentlemen are sitting comfortably in talk show chairs, making fun of Annalena Baerbock, allegedly telling villages in Nigeria how to build toilets. That is fake news. In the specific case, it was about women in a village that had been attacked by the terrorist organization Boko Haram, where women had been raped. It was the women on the ground who raised the issue and pointed out that sanitation facilities in the center of the village were safer for them. Anyone who mocks this shows not only disrespect towards these women, but also behaves in a deeply arrogant and delusional way. And honestly, if this is what people think caused Germany's Security Council bid to fail, they are making a fool of themselves.
The world looked at Germany and said no. Not this Germany, not for the Security Council. We hear various explanations: bad timing, poor coordination, campaigns against Germany. Most of it is nonsense. The world simply looked closely. It heard the Chancellor say we must become fit for war by 2029. It heard the Defense Minister promise the strongest conventional army in Europe. It saw this country supplying weapons and diplomatic cover to a state under genocide proceedings. It saw this government remain silent or even provide logistical support when the United States violates international law. It felt that Germany does not use its political and economic power in the interest of the international community. This government talks about values, but only defends them when they do not conflict with its own interests. These double standards have destroyed trust. Either international law applies universally, or it is worthless. The world said no because it knows that Germany does not make policy for peace. Foreign policy is also domestic policy, but tanks alone do not create security. Security is when there are enough nurses on the ward at night to care for patients. Security is when rent at the end of the month does not determine whether there is money left for food. Security is when pensions are enough to live on, not just to pay the next electricity bill. And this is exactly the security you are taking away for more weapons. Those who criticize this are called naive, but that is wrong.
After 1 year of Chancellor Merz, we are now so small that even Austria and Portugal managed to organize more international support for Germany than the Black-Red government. The embarrassment at the UN was Baerbock's doing and Friedrich's contribution. They are all in the same boat, and that boat has now capsized. Capsized is the mixture of checkbook diplomacy, incompetence, moral arrogance, and consistent ignorance of the realities of this world.
Representatives of the federal government have made it very clear that we stand for the existence of the State of Israel. That does not mean we must agree with every single action of the Israeli government. The Chancellor has also made that clear. It does not mean we question international law. On the contrary, but we do assume our special responsibility for the State of Israel, and that is non-negotiable.
Two major contributors either do not pay or pay too late: the United States and China. Although Germany is the fourth largest contributor after the US, China, and Japan, and provides almost 5.7% of the budget, amounting to $213 million, we are denied this seat. That should give us pause for thought.
In this context, it was stated that learning from China can also mean learning to win, because the Chinese have an advantage over us. They think in generations. On the other hand, we have made it clear that certain things must end, for example, subsidized loans via the KfW for China. Criticism has also been voiced in this context, both of China and of the federal government. One cannot blame China for pursuing a policy in its own national interest. But one can certainly criticize this government and previous governments for consistently pursuing policies in the interest of foreign actors, the EU, the world, but not in the interest of Germany.